Hello, Squirrel Squad listeners. Let's get back on this crazy book, Moods. Still on chapter 1, part 2. It never is too late. If the priest stood ready and I had sworn to marry you within the hour, I would break the oath and God would pardon it, for no man has a right to embrace temptation and damn himself by a lifelong lie. You choose to make it a hard battle for me. You are neither an honest friend nor a generous foe. No matter, I have fallen into an ambuscade and must cut my way out as I can. And as I will, for there is enough of this devil's work in the world without our adding to it. You cannot escape with honor, Adam. I cannot remain with honor. Do not try me too hardly, Otilla. I am not patient, but I do desire to be just. I confess my weakness. Will not that satisfy you? Blazon your wrong as you esteem it. Ask sympathy of those who see not as I see. Reproach, defy, lament. I will bear it all, will make any other sacrifice as an atonement. But I will hold fast mine integrity and obey a higher law than your world recognizes, both for your sake and my own. She watched him as he spoke, for to herself confessed a slavery more absolute than any he had known, for with a pang she felt that she had indeed fallen into the snare she spread for him, and in this man who dared to own his weakness and her power, she had found a master. Was it too late to keep him? She knew that soft appeals were vain, tears like water on a rock, and with a skill that had subdued him once, she endeavored to retrieve her blunder by an equanimity which had more effect than prayers or protestations. Warwick had read her well, had shown her herself stripped of all disguises and left her no defense but tardy candor. She had the wisdom to see this, the wit to use it and restore the shadow of the power whose substance she had lost. Leaving her beauty to its silent work, she fixed on him eyes whose luster was quenched in unshed tears, and said with an earnest, humble voice, I too desire to be just. I will not reproach, defy, or lament, but leave my fate to you. I am all you say, yet in your judgment remember mercy, and believe that at 25 there is still hope for the noble but neglected nature, still time to repair the faults of birth, education, and orphanhood. You say I have a daring will, a love of conquest. Can I not will to overcome myself and do it? Can I not learn to be the woman I have seemed? Love has worked greater miracles. May it not work this? I have longed to be a truer creature than I am, have seen my wasted gifts, felt my capacity for better things, and looked for help from many sources, but never found it till you came. Do you wonder that I tried to make it mine? Adam, you are a self-elected missionary to the world's afflicted. You can look beyond external poverty and see the indigence of souls. I am a pauper in your eyes. Stretch out your hand and save me from myself. Here comes the nose itch. Straight through the one vulnerable point in the man's pride went this appeal to the man's pity. Indignation could not turn it aside. Contempt blunt its edge, or wounded feeling lessen its force, and yet it failed. For in Adam Warwick, justice was stronger than mercy, reason than impulse, head than heart. Experience was a teacher whom he trusted. He had weighed this woman and found her wanting. Truth was not in her, the patient endeavor, the hard-won success so possible. To many was hardly so to her, and a union between them could bring no lasting good to either. He knew this, had decided it in a calmer hour than the present, and by that decision he would now abide proof against all attacks from within or from without or from within, more gently but as inflexibly as before. He said, "I do put out my hand and offer you the same bitter draught of self-contempt that proved a tonic to my own weak will. I can help, pity, and forgive you heartily, but I dare not marry you. The tie that binds us is a passion of the senses, not a love of the soul. You lack the moral sentiment that makes all gifts and graces subservient to the virtues that render womanhood a thing to honor as well as love. I can relinquish youth, beauty, worldly advantages, but I must reverence above all others the woman whom I marry, and feel an affection that elevates me by quickening all that is noblest and manliest in me. With you I should be either a tyrant or a slave. I will be neither, but go solitary all my life, rather than rashly mortgage the freedom kept inviolate so long, or let the impulse of an hour mar the worth of coming years." Bent and broken by the unanswerable accusations of what seemed a conscience in human shape, Attila had sunk down before him with an abandonment as native to her as the indomitable which still refused to relinquish hope even in despair. "Go," she said. "I am not worthy of salvation, yet it is hard, very hard, to lose the one motive strong enough to save me, the one sincere affection of my life." Warwick had expected a tempestuous outbreak at his decision. This entire submission touched him, for in the last words of her brief lament he detected the accent of truth and longed to answer it. He paused, searching for the just thing to be done. Attila, with hidden face, watched while she wept, and waited hopefully for the relenting sign. In silence the two, a modern Samson and Delilah, waged the old war that has gone on ever since the strong locks were shorn and the temple fell, a war which fills the world with unmated pairs and a long train of evils arising from marriages made from impulse and not principle. As usual, the most generous was worsted. The silence pleaded well for Attila, and when Warwick spoke, it was to say impetuously, "You are right. It is hard that when two err, one alone should suffer. I should have been wise enough to see the danger, brave enough to fly from it. I was not, and I owe you some reparation for the pain my folly brings you. I offer you the best because the hardest sacrifice that I can make. You say love could work miracles and that yours is the most sincerest affection of your life. Prove it. In 3 months you conquered me. Can you conquer yourself in 12? Try me. I will. Nature takes a year for her harvest. I give you the same for yours. If you will devote 1/2 the energy and care to this work that you devoted to the other, will earnestly endeavor to cherish all that is womanly and noble in yourself, and through desire for another's respect earn your own, I too will try to make myself a fitter mate for any woman and keep our troth unbroken for a year. Can I do more? I dared not ask so much. I have not deserved it, but I will. Only love me, Adam, and let me save myself through you." Flushed and trembling with delight, she rose. Sure the trial was safely past, but found that for herself a new one had begun. Warwick offered his hand. "Farewell, then." "Going? Surely you will stay and help me through my long probation." "No. If your desire has any worth, you can work it out alone. We should be hindrances to one another, and the labor be ill done. Where will you go? Not far, Adam. Straight to the north. This luxurious life invigorates me. The pestilence of slavery lurks in the air and infects me. I must build myself up anew and find again the man I was. When must you go? Not soon. At once. I shall hear from you? Not till I come. But I shall need encouragement, shall grow hungry for a word, a thought from you. A year is very long to wait and work alone. Eloquently she pleaded with voice and eyes and tender lips, but Warwick did not yield. If the test be tried at all, it must be fairly tried. We must stand entirely apart and see what saving virtue lies in self-denial and self-help. You will forget me, Adam. Some woman with a calmer heart than mine will teach you to love as you desire to love, and when my work is done, it will all be in vain. Never in vain, if it be well done, for such labor is its own reward. Have no fear, one such lesson will last a lifetime. Do your part heartily, and I will keep my pledge until the year is out. And then, what then? If I see in you the progress both should desire, if this tie bears the test of time and absence, and we find any basis for our abiding union, then Attila, I will marry you. But if meanwhile that colder, calmer woman comes to you, what then? Then I will not marry you. Your promise is a man's vow, made only to be broken. I have no faith in you. I think you may have. There will be no time for more folly. I must repair the loss of many wasted days, nay, not wasted, if I have learned this lesson well. Rest secure, it is impossible that I should love. You believed that 3 months ago, and yet you are a lover now. Attila smiled an exultant smile, and Warwick acknowledged his proven fallibility by a haughty flush and a frank amendment. Let it stand, then, that if I love again, I am to wait in silence till the year is out, and you absolve me from my pledge. Does that satisfy you? It must. But you will come, whatever changes may befall you. Promise me this. I promise it. Going so soon? Oh, wait a little. When a duty is to be done, do it at once. Delay is dangerous. Good night. Give me some remembrance of you. I have nothing, for you are not a generous lover. Generous in deeds, Attila. I have given you a year's liberty, a dear gift from one who values it more than life. Now I add this. He drew her to him, kissed the red mouth, and looked down upon her with a glance that made his man's face as pitiful as any woman's. He had let her lean there happy in the hope given at such cost. For a moment nothing stirred in the room but the soft whisper of the wind. For a moment Warwick's austere life looked hard to him. Love seemed sweet, submission possible. For in all the world this was the only woman who clung to him, and it was beautiful to cherish and be cherished after years of solitude. A long sigh of desire and regret broke from him, and at the sound a stealthy smile touched Attila's lips as she whispered with a velvet cheek against his own, "Love, you will stay?" "I will not stay." And like one who cries out sharply within himself, "Get thee behind me," he broke away. "Adam, come back to me, come back." He looked over his shoulder, saw the fair woman in the heart of the warm glow, heard her cry of love and longing, knew the life of luxurious ease that waited for him, but steadily went out into the night, only answering, "In a year." And that's it. weird. Chapter 2 is called Whims. W-H-I-M-S. But that will be tomorrow. Okie dokie. Have a fabulous night. I have an FO. Were you at Ola Joe's today? If you were, you saw it. If you weren't, I'll show it to you. I like the color much better when I was working with it. It just doesn't... I don't even know if you can see it. It's got green in it. Like, this is a dark green and sort of a teal, but it looks almost just kind of gray and stuff. But anyway, after 2 years, if you look back, not sure if I showed it on my very first video over 2 years ago. My potiversary was May, I think it was 17th. Yeah, it needs, and this is all acrylic, but it needs blocking. It's been, you know, crumpled up. And it needs, I was going to make it longer, so it's really kind of shawlette size. And I only have a, if I think about it tomorrow, I'll bring the ball in. Thought about putting fringe on it, and I do detest putting fringe. But I don't have enough. So I'm pretty sure this was Lion Brand Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon. So this is that pattern I do all the time, but very few have been finished. I think I've finished maybe 3. That one you've seen, and looking at it right now. It's in homespun. And then I did one in Ice Rock Star, and Miss Sharon from Sharon's Crochet Corner won that. I'm not sure if she kept it or not, because it was small like this one. But anyway, there you go. And I had this, I don't know how I show fiber of the day. This will be the fiber tomorrow, I guess. Christy hooked me up. Christy in Tennessee told me about this ice yarn. These are only like $1, 95 cents, 97 cents, something like that. It's teeny tiny. It's a size 1. And there is 180 meters in each one. So I got 1, 2, I think there's 5 of these colors. Messing around with this. But I got red, white, and blue, and green. It's called Edamon. Yeah. E-T-A-M-I-N. So, it'd be good to do the red and green and white. Well, even the blue could make good some kind of ornaments, maybe. Anyway, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Love ya. Be sweet. Don't be ugly. I got these little sweets in my mouth. They're not mints. They're just sugar. Tastes like sugar. Oh. They're little skulls. Can you see them? Here's a pink one. Now if I can hold it up without dropping it. You see that little tiny thing? There it is. So there's pink and green and blue. These are the ones I got at Michael's, and I just got them purely so that when I ate them, I'd have these little tins to put stitch markers in. Look. Okay, I'm out of here. Love y'all. Bye.